too many Matts. Like my entire life, I have too many Matts in my life.
We keep letting them in.
Welcome to Noise Floor, a podcast about music and our favorite artist discographies. I'm Troy Sennett.
And I'm Matt Kistler.
And today we are talking about Fun's second album, Some Nights, continuing our Nate Ruess series after we did all the Format records, and Aim and Ignite. And this album came out on February 21st, 2012 on Fueled by Ramen, produced by Jeff Basker. And joining us today to talk about this record is a very old friend of mine, a former bandmate of mine in City Mouth, for the second week in a row, a City Mouth member on the show. And it's Matt Pow. What's up, Matt?
How you doing? Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you for doing this.
Who else did you have on the show?
Jeff Mills was on last week to talk about Aim and Ignite.
Cool. That is fitting.
Yeah. We did that one live in like all together in my basement, and he just like would go over to the piano and play the songs. He just like knows all of them, and he was the first person we've ever had on the show that could just like sing part of a song to describe it instead of us like fumbling through how a part sounds.
That's great.
It was really fun to have him on and catch up with him.
Yeah, I have many fond memories of listening to Jeff sing fun songs in college.
Yeah, I mean, we covered Carry On together at Firehouse one time.
Oh yeah, we did. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But so yeah, we usually kind of start off by just talking about our history with the album and, you know, with the band. So what's your history with Nate Ruess's music and Some Nights in particular?
So I remember finding Fun in the first place. So I'm a fucking poser. I found Fun first, then I found the Format. And I remember, I think I got YouTube recommended, like All the Pretty Girls, and I loved it. And then it started just recommending me a bunch of their songs, from Aim and Ignite, and I became obsessed, and I started showing everybody I knew, and basically got my whole family obsessed with Fun. And so I remember this album coming out. I remember Some Nights coming out I must have been about like halfway through my senior year of high school. So this was like a big freaking deal for me, and my whole family, me and all my siblings would like listen to Fun together, and we would just jam this album like front to back over and over again all the time. But yeah, and I was pretty big into the Format as well after that, or after I found Aim and Ignite. And yeah, I definitely feel like a lot of my songwriting influence has come from Nate and his lyrics and the way that he writes.
I definitely hear that from having played and written with you so much. Like, it makes total sense. And I feel like this album had come out by the time I met you. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it would have, because I didn't meet you till college. So
it was like, so it was like fall of that was like 2013. And so this album came out in early 2012. So yeah, because this album like rewired my brain, I think. I was a very anti-pop music person, as you probably remember. Yeah. But this was the one that broke the dam, and then I was like, oh, I kind of feel like I get pop music. And then it was like a 2-year turn of like this record, and then Taylor Swift's Red, and then like playing with you a lot, and like being just that made me a pop fan. Those three things. Yeah,
this was definitely, I think, one of the things that made me a pop fan. I don't remember like I remember being really into Lorde in the 1975, but I think that was after this came out.
That's later. Yeah, that's all like later in 2013.
And I think I liked Kanye West too, and like, you know, I mean, like, I remember every person I knew that like was not into like hip hop music, kind of had the same like turning point of with Kanye West's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and Take Care. And I've seen, I don't remember where I heard this, but Nate references those same two albums as being like the things that kind of turned him onto hip hop music.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of flows into the pop thing too.
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is like the genesis of Some Nights, because that's the album that Nate is listening to, that he's like, oh, Jeff Basker produced this, and so that's who I need to work with when I want to make my hip-hop infused pop album.
Right.
But Kistler, tell us about what your history with Some Nights is.
Yeah, since I was a fan starting at Aim and Ignite, Matt, I am also a poser. I got on board with Nate at Aim and Ignite too. So I was hotly anticipating this album, and I do remember hearing We Are Young for the first time and just being like a little taken aback with how different it sounded, in like ways that were both good and bad at the time. I have since love that song, like full stop, no qualifications there. But I remember being like, oh, this is going to be a very different album, even though it's the same dudes. And I, like, at this point in time, wasn't really like paying that much attention to who was producing a given album. So I think if I'd had at kind of the time that I started like hearing songs from this record and first put it on, if I'd known that Jeff Basker was the guy who did 808s and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Also, sorry everybody, we are gonna reference Kanye on this episode. This webisode that we're doing on the web.
We do not condone.
Anyway,
we do not condone Kanye West.
But back in 2012, believe you me, I was listening to those albums quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, if I'd had that context, I think I would have like understood this album at like just on its face a lot more.
Yeah.
But that said, like when this album dropped, I like there were so many things I immediately loved about it, and I feel like this album, in addition to like kind of starting to listen to, ironically enough, Janelle Monáe around this time, kind of started to like crack open the floodgates for me too with regards to like more mainstream pop music, which I don't think fully hit until like 2015, 2016 for me, but now I'm obviously fully there. Ask me about Carly Rae Jepsen anytime you want. So yeah, I don't know. It was very hotly anticipated, and I don't think I had any clue what was coming until it really did hit.
Yeah.
But what about you, Troy?
I was just looking something up to confirm this, because I was going to tell a story, and it's... Did you know that Call Me Maybe and We Are Young came out on the same day?
No, I had no idea. That's nuts.
It doesn't feel true, but I'm.
It doesn't, but it is. But the reason I was looking this up is because I was obviously, I was a Format fan, I was an Aim and Ignite fan, and I think I had kind of somewhere in the 2010, 2011, I had gotten so into like the Wonder Years and The Story So Far and that kind of pop punk that I had kind of like Fun was off my radar a little bit. And I remember my girlfriend at the time, Rachel, she was early on Call Me Maybe, and she was like, and like she loved that song, and not in an ironic way. She was like, this is actually a jam, like you don't understand. And she was right. And I was wrong about that song at the time. But I remember being at a talent show that my brother Kale was playing, and before the talent show, they showed they were showing music videos or whatever on the screen, and they showed the video for We Are Young, and that was my first time hearing it. And Rachel was like, I was like, whatever, this doesn't sound like Aim and Ignite, I don't care. And Rachel was like, Troy, this is going to be a #1 hit. This is going to be the biggest thing in the world. And she was right. And by the time, yeah, exactly. And a couple months later when the album came out, by that point I understood We Are Young, and I realized how great it was. And then Some Nights had come, like the single had come out, and I was obsessed with that song. And like I said, the story of this album is like I said, me kind of becoming a pop fan. And I think it's also kind of like the defining pop album of our generation's early adulthood. I mean, Matt Pow, I know you were you said you were a senior in high school. Kistler, you were what?
I was out of college.
Out of college. I'm in the middle of college at this point. But I feel like, but that span is kind of the exact right amount of, and anyone in that age range probably, like, these songs were everywhere and are a big part of kind of that sort of coming of age time for all of us, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
Something I wanted to talk about as well that I forgot to mention is this was not a fun time to be a Fun fan, because everybody was so mad to be hearing those songs so often on the radio that people were very mean about liking Fun. And I didn't really care for, I still am not a huge fan of We Are Young. But obviously it did what it needed to do for the band. And I think it's cool. It's a cool song. It's definitely one of my least favorite on the album. But I was like, the other songs are really good though. And people were like, no, they're not. And I loved Some Nights. And people were very angry at me for liking this band. It's like, you don't understand.
I had this experience too. I would walk into the coffee shop at Wesleyan and Some Nights would be playing and I'd be like bopping and singing along, and my friend who was a barista was like, this shit again? Like, really? And I'm like, yeah, this is like one of the best songs ever. And he was like, I have to hear this shit every single day, like 5 times a day. And I mean, like, I get it if you're in an environment where you can't pick the music, but like, the songs are so good. I literally have never gotten tired of them. Even We Are Young, which I kind of agree, and we'll talk about it when we go through the track list song by song, but I kind of agree with you about that song, but the title track is invincible.
Yeah, truly.
Definitely. I also, for me, like, listening back to this album, I really haven't listened to Fun in a very long time. Kind of am, at this point in my life, kind of not as into pop music as I was for basically the entire time you've known me. But
yeah,
something that I feel a lot of weird feelings looking back on stuff from the 2010s. I think the 2010s had this kind of like optimism that, looking back, I almost feel like a disdain for my former self and for the time. Like, I know it doesn't make sense, but it's like, I feel like, you naive little child, like, you don't know how crazy the world is going to get. Like, you're so happy about all of the things going on. You're like, oh, the world is so great.
We were so high on Barack Obama.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And kind of look at, like, this is like the first boss of the 2010s. And then I feel like Hamilton was like the final boss of the 2010s. And then COVID came and wrecked fucking everything and changed everything about how I thought of anything. And it wasn't just COVID. It was a lot of different things. I mean, it was also like, like the Black Lives Matter movement stuff, and just like becoming more aware of how bad stuff could be and how it had been bad. Like, and, from this, I guess, like, privileged tunnel vision type of thing, like, maybe things weren't as great and optimistic. And so looking back towards it, it's like, I feel like a jealousy almost towards my former self, that, like, life seemed so, like, I was definitely depressed, but, like, in a less cynical way than I am now. And so listening to a lot of these songs again, like, it's a really weird feeling. Like, I notice mostly the things that haven't aged as well for me. And just like, it's just a completely different culture, I feel like, that heard these songs compared to nowadays. I don't know. So I feel like a lot of my comments towards these songs might be a little bit pessimistic, but I will try not to be a hater.
I think that's really interesting. Did you see the little, so there was the big piece in the Washington Post about Nate for for Boycott Heaven, but they had a quote from Jack in there as well. And he also was like, I don't think Fun aged well.
Interesting.
he was like, I mean, he was also just his usual, like, well, it wasn't my band and I wanted to do something that, was mine. But he was like, he said fun was accidental and it was of its time. And it's, I didn't think any of that music was going to age well.
Yeah.
And I think it's weird that if he really thought that then,
Yeah, it is.
I'd be curious.
Yeah.
But there's the other thing is that, like, there's a NPR review of this album where the columnist named Dowd Tyler Amin described this as the start of a new era of music and the way that it incorporates hip hop and pop. And I'm curious, like, I feel like that kind of naive optimism is in that description of this album, as well as kind of maybe the album itself, of this idea that, like, maybe we can, that like breaking new ground genre wise might, lead to something better for the world or something like that.
I think so much of the time too was like you kind of defined yourself by the media that you consumed. That, I feel like that's a huge part of like the 2010s culture and like Tumblr. It was like we weren't thinking about as much like political policy as we were thinking about like, are we listening to like, to artists that support gay rights and like stuff like that. Like it was so much about what we were consuming, and yeah, it's just like a weird world to look back on.
Yeah.
Because were you doing your radio show at all at this point? I know you were when Aim and Ignite came out.
No, I was, since I was between college and moving to Chicago, I was not involved in radio at all. I didn't do anything even tangentially related to it until I moved here in 2013.
Okay, so you weren't one of the ones overplaying these songs for everyone.
I was not, no. American Eagle Outfitters definitely was, and that was a place that I worked, so in a weird way, kind of.
Yeah.
But I didn't make any decisions for that, so I was probably more in line with your barista at your college's cafe, even though I really did enjoy hearing those songs more often than other songs that I heard all the time.
Yeah. I want to cite two more kind of things about the album in general that I think are interesting before we get into the songs. There is a couple interviews where both, I think, the band and maybe Jeff Bhasker himself talks about Jeff Bhasker had never recorded guitars before making this record,
right?
Which I think is pretty fascinating, because I think Jack's guitars in this record are like out of this world good.
Oh yeah, they are. Like, no question.
I don't know if I can distinguish what is a guitar when I listen to this album. I thought while I was listening this time, I was like, wait, what is a guitar in this song? And it was actually the first time I realized, oh, there actually is like a chunky, like palm muted guitar in the chorus of We Are Young.
This is peak where are the guitars in pop music era also. I remember just that being like a huge discourse thing around this time, is like with this album in particular, but with a lot of other albums too. It's like, well, where did all the guitars go in pop music in general? And I mean, this is like a bad time for rock music generally, I think. There's, this album, We Are Young set a record. It was the first band to debut at #1 in like over 10 years, like since Nickelback.
Yeah.
Everything else had been solo artists, which is kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
I hadn't bothered to look up who previously was the #1 rock band. God damn it. Okay.
Yep.
Well,
I remember they were talking about it in an interview, and Jack was kind of like laughing about it, and the other guys were like, hey, don't make fun of Nickelback, which is the right take. Don't make fun of Nickelback. They've got some good songs.
And some really bad ones, but
sure.
they do have some good ones.
Sure. I haven't heard that many of their songs, but this is how you remind me of. I don't know what the title
who I really am.
is.
Yeah.
Some part of that is the title. That's a good song. And like Photograph
like that
is the
song
one
too.
that I clowned on the most as a kid, and I have since been like, Photograph is a good song, especially that chorus. Good stuff. I can't remember how it goes right now.
I agree,
but I remember it was good.
I'm not going to sing it for you, but I unironically really like that song and always have.
Yeah. I wish I was a Jeff Mills.
At risk of
So good.
At risk of exposing more of my bad Nickelback takes, let's get into the songs.
Okay.
Yeah, let's.
All right, so this album starts with the Some Nights intro, which is kind of a operatic piano and vocal thing that sort of sets the stage for the record with thematically and musically with some sort of the Queen-esque opera stuff and all the samples and I think a truly great set of lyrics, even though it's pretty short.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of this song?
This song has aged pretty dang well for me. This is such a cool intro, and it gives you the theatrical part of it without, and starts to kind of hint at the electronic elements of it, but it like kind of it definitely sets the tone of the album like super well, and the vocals are awesome, the lyrics are awesome. This song went hard in high school madrigal choir class. They had a piano, and it was really easy to play this song on the piano, and all the nerdy madrigal kids were all into this album too. So sometimes somebody would go up to the piano and start doing the boom, 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 boom. It's great. It's so good. I love it.
It is great. I think that there are not a ton of parallels between this album and Aim and Ignite, but I think the build of this, like how well it builds and like ebbs and flows, is comparable to Be Calm in a lot of ways. Like, not quite the same level, but like definitely following in that tradition. Yeah.
It definitely is a good continuation from Aim and Ignite to like take you from that album into this one.
I hadn't watched the video for this song in many, many years. I forgot that when they are performing the song in this video that Jack is on the sampler, which is a wild thing to watch him try to make interesting during the course of the song. He really nails it at the end when he's playing the timpani.
Yeah, that's the best part, is when he's like hitting the orchestra hits. It's on the little MPC. Yeah. It's so good. A thing that I really like about this song, two things, I guess. I love how it just pretty much right up front literally mentions Twitter by name. I think it really, that might be something that people think doesn't age well about the song. I disagree. I think it is perfect sort of stage setting or scene setting. Like, you understand exactly where and when you are, and I think that's important for a song like this. I also just think this has one of the best fucks that Nate has ever sang. The "I've been fucking crazy" in the bridge.
Oh yeah.
And I think it also,
it's wonderful.
Like, it's so good. And I think like lyrically, the contrast between like the theatrical Queen-ish music and then like the lyrics, which they don't sound like rap lyrics, but they sound more. I feel like hip hop a lot of the times, like, in contrast to a lot of indie and rock music, it's more, there's more references towards like actually what, like, real life things, and which isn't necessarily true, but I feel that it's true for fun. Like, it kind of gives, there's so many cool things in here where it's like it sets the tone of the lyrics for the rest of the album. It's like it has this like directness of a Kanye West influenced album, but in the context of like a Queen or like an opera or like a Broadway song. I think I love an intro that shows you kind of like both sides of what you're about to hear.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of exactly what the lyrics are doing. You know, it's using the Some Nights image, you know, and jumping between the grandiosity of the big stage with the uncertainty of this internal uncertainty and anxiety, which is, I guess, kind of the crux of the album.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an intro, or like, if we want to frame it, you know, in musical terms, like we did with Aim and Ignite, like it is the overture for the album in the like truest sense.
Yeah.
And then you get to the actual Some Nights title track, which I believe a minute ago I called an invincible song. This is truly one of my favorite songs of all time.
Yeah, it's great. The only thing I will say is, what hasn't aged well for me, I feel like the lyrics, they go in a lot of different directions, and I am not, it may be my poor media literacy that I'm not sure how everything in this song connects, but I think it's also just, I mean, that goes with, he's talking about a lot of different nights. Some nights this, some nights that.
So my read of that, which I totally get that, but I think it ties together because I think this is just the experience of being in a band or in the band,
Right.
like the band Fun specifically, or like his experience in the music industry. Because I think it is really all about the anxiety of trying to make the greatest thing you've ever made.
Yeah.
And the people that are depending on you to make that. And, and you get the, like, he's using the war metaphor and the, what's the tried twice as hard and I'm half as liked, which is just like the entire history of the format.
Right.
Here they come again to jack my style.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's a line here and there that I think kind of splits off from it. But
Yeah.
Even when you get to the bridge is just a straight up like, I worked so hard and what for?
Yeah.
Which is, again, I think kind of the main point of the song.
Then there's like the part about his sister's kid, his nephew.
Oh my God.
Which, great.
Yeah.
Don't know what that has to do with any of the other things in the song. Then at the end, you got the other night, you wouldn't believe the dream I just had about you and me. And it's like, there's so many different things, but I don't think that's necessarily new for Nate at this point. Like he is,
yeah.
It's just kind of general stream of consciousness, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just, for me, I'm like, why did he put that there? Also, I feel that they could have let the spoken word part cook a little longer. Because is he saying it sounds like a swan, or does he sounds like this one? Hotly debated.
The lyrics on Genius sound like a swan, as in the bird, as in
that's
the format
what I've
song
always
Swans,
heard.
maybe.
Right.
Oh, I just assumed that was in reference to the idea of a swan song. Like
That too.
every time I hear a song, it sounds like it is potentially the last one.
Interesting.
Write a song.
That is
or
a
whatever.
good read. Yeah, maybe I'm the problem. But yeah,
No,
I
it's
definitely
fine.
feel like this. I've always been a little bit cringed out by this spoken word part, but I'm also not a huge fan of spoken word parts in songs in general.
Okay.
And then also like, come on. I feel like come on is also like, for fun. It's almost like saying la 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 la. You're not supposed to necessarily take it literally. But yeah, there's a lot of that.
It's like an interjection of vocalization as
Right.
opposed to like a lyric you're supposed to really think about.
Yeah.
I have never been able to get over how good the "Who the fuck wants to die alone? I'll dried up in the desert sun" bit is.
And you gotta have that sun in every.
Yeah, I mean, it's
every Nate Ruess album.
it is
You got something about the
sun and stars. Stars are all over this album, both as in a literal ways and like looking at the sky, and also in a celebrity way, and kind of intermixing those two versions of that image. Did you guys watch the music video for this song?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's wild. I kind of forgot about it.
They're in war.
It is straight up like it's a Civil War movie, basically.
Yep.
It is an insanely expensive, high production music video, which kind of makes sense because I think they made it after We Are Young was already a huge hit, so they kind of knew this was going to be a huge hit too.
Yeah.
It is just so funny to see them in their like modern hair and makeup, and then with all these like Civil War, they hired an actual Civil War reenactment troupe to be the rest of the soldiers. It's so funny.
It's the pretty boy Civil War.
What I wanted so badly for this music video was one anachronistic moment where they give Jack an electric guitar. It did not happen.
Oh, that would have been sick.
Sad.
Yeah.
He's having a lot of fun playing the marching toms in that, though.
Oh, yeah, he's having a great time. And then they give Andrew the marching xylophone, which is definitely not of the time, I don't think. But, it's fine.
Yeah, you definitely get the feeling in this album that, like, Jack does a lot of random stuff that is not guitar playing. which I don't know if he actually
Yeah,
played the
I mean-
drum part. That maybe that was just for the video.
I'm pretty sure that they just like need stuff for him to do in music videos sometimes.
Yeah.
What's
Specifically
the-
on this record. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the Aim and Ignite videos is the same thing. Like he's playing the drum set, although he like definitely did not play that on the album.
Yeah. I always wondered,
but it's like a song with no guitar in it.
Yeah. I always wondered the intro music video, after they sing the thing, they walk out of the room or whatever. It's been a long time since I've seen this, but I remember like I think they like walk out of the room with the piano. They go into like some other place. They turn around, they look at the camera. And I'm like, why don't they start singing Some Nights and just have it be like a connected music video? I always thought that should have been what they did, but maybe it would have not been.
I thought the
good.
same thing.
It drives me
I thought
insane.
the same thing when I watched them.
Yeah.
Today. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
glad I'm not the
But
only one.
It almost kind of feels like it goes into the We Are Young video better than it goes into the Some Nights video. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
The We Are Young video, they're all in their fancy suits and everything too.
Right.
But
And
yeah, we can get
performing
into
at
We
a
Are
bar.
Young.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, We Are Young is next.
Yeah, We Are Young is up next. The first single from this record, the song that catapulted this band from, a fairly small band that was getting more popular to like we were talking about, the kind of one of the defining pop artists of our generation. It's a bit more of a ballad and then turns into this like soaring sort of inspirational song, I guess, in a way. I don't know. This one is, I don't know. Matt, you mentioned having some doubts about this song as the years have gone on. What do you think about it now?
Yeah.
I mean,
Sorry.
Oh, yeah,
Wait, which
go ahead.
Matt?
we did the thing.
Yeah, too many
Go ahead,
Matts.
Matt.
I am not a huge fan of this song, but I do acknowledge that it's pretty good. A line that drives me crazy is, "So if by the time the bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home." That's not a good sentence. It should have been,
I
"So
agree.
if by the time the bar closes, you feel down, I'll carry you home." It just feels like there's like a lot, like, I love this album. It was a huge thing for me. I appreciate everything, but I always get the feeling now when I listen back is like, there's just certain things that I feel like they could have revised a little bit, but it feels like they kind of were recording in the traditional hip hop fashion of like, you're writing, you're recording. Yep. That's good. Let's move on, and there's just certain things like that where it's like, I don't know, maybe they never noticed that. And maybe even if they took more time, they would have never thought about it, but I noticed it. And,
So I feel like this is not an uncommon thing for Nate to do in his writing, is to not let grammar get in the way of a good melody.
right.
And yeah, and I feel like that is a particularly good example of it. There's a couple in the Format era too.
Yeah, and
I feel like
I'm
you might have
usually
pointed
on
out
the
a couple
same
of them.
page of that too. Is like, I'd rather it be how you would say it, than have it be like correct, quote unquote. Just to me, that's not how you would say it. But maybe that's how Nate would say
Yeah.
it. I don't know. Another thing I remember about this song is that part of it becoming big was it being featured on Glee. So that was,
Yes.
we were taking some wedgies for this one. Like, this was not a cool band to like, and it was a weird thing going from, this being like this indie band that and this probably happens with everybody who was into the band before it was cool, but it's like a weird feeling of like, this is a band where it's like, me and my friends and family, whatever, we've been so into this like little secret band, and it feels so great to listen to them. And then it's like, now everybody can hear them, and a lot of people hate it. And so the Glee thing was weird.
Just imagine having been a Format fan since 2005 and then seeing
Yeah.
like it was. And the thing that's crazy is, I mean, I'd never met anyone in this band. I don't know these guys at all, obviously. But when I hear of I hear Fun on the radio or whatever, I'm still to this day I'm still just like, man, that's the kid from the Format and the kid from Steel Train.
Yeah,
they did it
right.
And it's I have this pride as a fan that is, like I said, I'm not trying to like blow smoke up their asses or anything. I don't know these guys. It feels really special to have a band that you loved when they were really small, or an artist that you loved when they were really small, like really make it, and it feels like you have some stake in that.
Right. And I did feel that way too. Like I was really I thought it was so cool that like this indie band like, became the biggest band in the world. But it was just really hard to tell people that you liked them. But Matt Kistler, you were gonna say something and I cut you off.
No, you're good. You were the one actually being addressed. I just screwed up. No, like I remember hearing the song the first time and just being like really jarred by the specifically the first time that we go into the chorus, like just that dramatic tonal shift, and being like, I don't think this works. But then like you listen to the song more and they smooth out that transition as the song goes on every time they hit that chorus. And like kind of looking at it retroactively, I'm like, oh no, like this was a calculated move. Like that draws your attention in that like enormous like tonal tempo, etc. shift that first time, and you are paying attention to that chorus because like clearly something has changed, and then it's stuck in your head for the rest of the song, and then also the rest of eternity.
Yeah, I also heard that the transition going into the chorus, they had to show Jeff Basker like how to do tempo mapping in his DAW because he was like,
oh my God.
They had it all at the same tempo or whatever, and they were like, this is just not working, and he was like, well, that's the tempo, and they were like, well, this is how you do it, and then they said like, while they were making the rest of the album, like he wanted to do it for like every little thing. Was like, oh yeah, let's tempo map it. Like,
there's a couple other songs that
idea.
have very noticeable tempo changes going into a chorus or into a bridge or something. I noted it a couple times.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is a thing that happens several times.
Yeah, and it's a bold move to do that in a pop song, and I think that is pretty cool. This is one of those songs that's like I've heard it so many times that I like barely even hear it anymore. So like some of the guys are mentioning, I'm like, oh yeah, that is kind of a cool thing that they did.
Yeah.
So
here's a question about this song. The thing that I struggle with, and I've always kind of struggled with about this song, is it feels like one of those sort of the lyrics in the chorus especially feel like one of those really forced attempts at universality, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things of like, obviously I'm the one with the wrong taste because the song was a massive hit. And so, Nate Ruess was right. But like, I still feel like, I want more specificity in lyrics. And the verse lyrics have a lot of specificity to them, which I think is why I kind of forgive the chorus a little bit. But I don't know if that's something that you guys picked up on too.
Yeah, I've always found the chorus lyrics like pretty cheesy. And this was kind of just like the vibe of pop music at the time. Everything was "We Are Young." We're at the I can't remember. This might have been after the "We're at the Club" era, but it was
a little bit after.
It feels a little pandery to the radio, but honestly, the song did what it needed to do for the band. Like they were making a hit, and I would not be surprised if this is one of the songs that the band maybe doesn't like as much anymore, because it does kind of feel a little bit forced in that way. But the verses, I love his like narrative lyrics stuff always makes it feel so much more grounded in reality. So yeah, how about you, Matt?
I think in a way I agree with you guys. I like this song a lot, but the chorus, like despite what I just said, does feel very disconnected from the rest of the song in a lot of ways, specifically thematically.
Yeah.
So like, this song does feel like it is built around having the catchiest chorus it can possibly have, that gets stuck in everybody's head. And yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from on that. That said, this song does also, like, I did not know this. I didn't know this song brought Janelle Monáe into the spotlight in the way that it did. I thought she was already mega popular by this point.
No, she's only like an album or two into her career at this point.
Yeah, she had put out Metropolis and Arcandroid at this point, and that was it.
Yeah, and so she was like friends with Jeff Basker, and he brought her onto the song. And yeah, I mean, this is definitely the first time I heard her.
Yeah, it's not very characteristic of her, of the type of music that she makes, but it's a cool feature. Janelle Monáe is pretty amazing. So
yeah,
thanks, fun.
Yeah. All right. Next up is Carry On, which is. Oh wait, you got more.
Sorry,
you got more.
I have a question. Controversial question.
Okay.
What do you think this? What do you think the scar is? I've seen a lot of wild taste songs, and I want to talk about them a little bit. I've seen things where like people are like, "Oh, this song is about domestic violence," and like, I don't.
If you read it literally, it is.
Right.
Like that is literally what the lyric sounds like. I have never, taken that line super literally.
I think especially because I believe Nate was dating Jack's sister at the time. And I don't think Jack would have been like, it's fine that you gave my sister a scar. Like, I just don't see that happening. I don't see that with any of these people, but I've always been curious about that. Like, or I guess I haven't always been curious about it. I haven't thought that much about it until I saw it resurface on TikTok.
In an interview, Nate said that it is an emotional scar, a metaphor, or whatever.
Right.
Who knows it might not even be like a true, like a literal first person. He is the character in the song.
Right. That's another thing I've wondered.
It could be fictional.
It's like, is Nate the character? It would be pretty fucking wild to just confess that in a
yes,
number one pop song. So probably, I think we can say Nate's probably not a horrible human being in that way.
In fact, he seems like a pretty good guy, I think, based on everything that I've read about him.
Cares about people and is not a fucking piece of shit. So just wanted to ask about that. Another thing that I started to go back to backtrack to Some Nights. I saw a very interesting Reddit thread the other day. People have very interesting interpretations of these songs. Somebody said this song is about how it's okay to cheat on your partner, and as long as, I don't know, something good comes out of it, because they took the line, "My heart is breaking for my sister," and the con that she called love. They took that as the sister is the one playing the con, and that's just a wild read of the song. I've seen a lot of interesting things like that floating around.
No,
somebody was projecting there.
So if you want to take issue with that verse, the angle you take at it is it's a little bit similar to the, like, God has a plan for all the misery that you're going through or whatever. Like, something good will come of this, which I can see someone taking issue with that reading of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't feel like he's necessarily saying it that way, but I do see what you're saying.
Not at all.
It's like Justin Bieber saying everything happens for a reason.
No, I think it's more of a, like, you can grow and move past a terrible thing that's happened to you.
Right.
We've aired the bad takes. Yeah, we can move on to Carry On, a really wonderful piano ballad that then it gets really huge with one of Jack's best guitar solos ever, I think, in the bridge.
Oh God, yeah. It's a really good one. I think the kind of two core similes that happen in the first verse, the cutting like knives in a fist fight and heart like the 4th of July, are two of my favorite Nate similes that have happened.
Yeah, those are very good. And I always appreciate, like, the narrative approach to the verses. Super cool. Do you think it's the cars, or I just I always thought it was the Cars. I just saw on another website the Cries, which honestly I think it's Cars, but I think Cries does kind of make sense.
I've kind of taken that line like at face value, like waking up in the middle of the night and you hear the traffic on the street, and that's like the only thing breaking the silence.
Yeah,
like I think that's just all it is.
Right. I think that's probably true.
The lyric that I have always gravitated to in the song that I love is, "I'd like to think I can cheat it all to make up for the times I've been cheated on."
Yeah, that line definitely went hard in the family car.
Yeah.
Great memories of just blasting this entire album with my siblings.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is such a good song. I mean, such a classic, like, it feels very timeless in some ways that the rest of the album doesn't really feel. Like the Carry On, it's so uplifting in a way that feels like it could have been like a classic rock song, or could have been, I don't know.
Could be My Chemical Romance.
I think this is one of those rare moments where like a lack of specificity in the chorus really does help this song quite a bit.
I was literally going to say the exact same thing, that where the universality makes me like We Are Young less, it makes me like this song more.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Anything else on this one?
I want to say, from a production standpoint, I love that there's just a mess of instruments that are all just playing the chord progression. Like there's an accordion in there somewhere. There's a bunch of strings, and like they're all just kind of playing the same thing, but it's mixed in such a way that like it sounds like this kind of like mono sound, like that you have to listen really hard to understand what all's in there. So it's not overwhelming at all, which I really love.
Yeah, I never noticed a lot of. I think this also, before I was listening as hard for those types of things in music, and I also I look back and I'm like, if I heard an album like this nowadays, I would have been thinking a lot more about what these lyrics meant. And I think that going back to it, that's like the things that stick out are like, yeah, like now I feel like I'm very into like trying to figure out what they're talking about. And some of the lyrical issues that I was talking about, like those stick out to me because they weren't things that I noticed back then. I want to say more about this song, but I don't know if I have anything else to say besides it's just good. And
it is just so good. And it's okay if a song is just so good. We do
that a lot
done that
here.
plenty of times. We can go to It Gets Better. Cool. I feel like we will have a lot to say about It Gets Better, which is a sort of an outlier on the album in that it is a very crunchy, like blown out drum machine sound with a pretty heavy guitar riff. And this song, I think, Kistler, you should go first on this one, because I know you have thoughts on this song.
Here's the thing.
I feel like I know what you're gonna say.
I want to like this song so bad. It's so here's the thing. There's a couple things about this song. One is that it is like inches away from being a punk song in a lot of ways. I noted that like on this listen, I was like, man, this kind of sounds like an early Metric. Like the guitar riff in particular sounds like an early Metric song. I love early Metric. I have no real problem with the lyrics. I think Nate's like pithy explanation of this song is about losing your virginity, you dumbass. Is like that's whatever. Like, yeah, it all clicks together if you put it in, frame it like that. It's just like the production on this song takes away from whatever it's going for so much. Like, I hate how the drums sound on this song. I hate that there's a million vocal effects on Nate's vocals, which is something that I will say the opposite about later on in this album. I don't know. Like, it feels like there's a good song underneath all the production decisions that were made on this, and just something about the way it was done just doesn't jive for me. Because there's that acoustic version floating around on the one iTunes sessions that I think is really great. Like, I feel like if a couple of elements were like stripped back a little bit, like this would have been fine. But also, yeah, like to your point, Troy, it sticks out like a sore thumb on this album in general. Like, I don't know why it's here.
Yeah, this was always definitely my least favorite song on the album, but I don't actually feel that way as much now. I actually kind of like this song a little bit more than I used to. I feel like I can tell where they were going. Like you said, like it does have like more of like a punk vibe to it, and I don't think I fully registered that when I was a kid. I always I didn't like the vocal effects on his voice. Now they don't feel as intrusive to me anymore for some reason. I
Because
feel
we
like-
have collectively experienced 15 years of pop music with
Yeah.
that kind of thing going
Right,
on.
yeah.
Oh, it's because I listen to hyperpop now. That's probably why.
Exactly. I listen to a lot more Sophie now than I did back then because she wasn't making music back then. So
Right.
I feel you on that one.
And then so I do appreciate this song a little bit more. What I thought you were going to say, Matt, was I don't want to think about Nate Ruess laying an egg. Like, just I don't care what it's a metaphor for. I just don't. I really think that was a poor choice of words.
That
And like, and then finding out it's about losing your virginity. That makes it worse. That makes it worse for me.
Okay,
that's fair.
I agree.
That's fair.
I must be the dumbass that he's talking about because I had never picked up on this song as like a song about losing your virginity, a song about sex. I always thought this was a song about like about the music industry, because I always thought the golden egg metaphor was the idea of like trying to make something, like again trying to make a record that's better than anything you've ever made before, and the pressure of that, and this like the Icarus metaphor, flying too close to the sun, lose your feathers, whatever it, however
sounds
you want to
better.
interpret that.
We should change the
There has
meaning
been so
to
much
that.
precedent set for that. Yeah.
Yeah, we should change it. I think that's the new meaning now.
Yeah. Kistler, I agree with you. The iTunes session version is better. The Andrew playing all the piano, like the piano part that just covers all the cool melodic stuff in this song, is really awesome in that version.
Yes. Matt, I think much like you, I've softened my opinion on this song, over the years. But like back when this album came out, like it was the thing that kept this album from like being a 10 for me, and in some ways it still does a little bit.
Yeah, I would skip this song like all the time.
So the thing that led to Nate saying outright like the song is about losing your virginity was a Rolling Stone
I know what you're talking
interviewer
about.
was like, so this song's about being gay as a younger person. Like I thought this song was about being gay as a younger person. I didn't know you had a girlfriend. And I mean that's because the phrase "it gets better" was like that was being used by like gay rights movements, like
This
to
was the height of that, and
Yeah.
fun was so in that lane where
The Ally
Right.
Coalition was like using that slogan, right? Because I always
think
thought
so,
it was
exactly.
and they were-
just because of the song.
right,
Yeah.
and they
So
were
that's the thing is like that phrase came like well before this song. So like I assumed that this was like not, I assumed this wasn't a song about Nate for a very long time. I assumed that this was a song like taking on a character who is like an older gay person who is talking to a younger gay person.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's a bad interpretation. It's weird to assume someone's sexuality, but like, maybe don't do that. Just in general, I don't have a but there. But I can see that like general interpretation totally being a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing I remember seeing about this song was that this was like the only song that they've ever written, like where they sat down and were like, let's write a song.
That's so
Interesting.
funny. I guess
As a kid, I was like, yeah, that's why this song sucks. I don't think it sucks anymore, but
their process was always Nate would write like a melody and then make the rest of the band figure out how to play it.
Yeah. Which not a bad way to do it, I'd say.
Yeah.
That's one way of
it's
writing
worked-
songs.
It's worked for them for a long time.
Yeah. But yeah, this one definitely, like, I appreciate it now because it almost feels like, okay, it kind of connects their musical past to now, like or now as in 2012. But like
Right.
it kind of connects, like, yeah, they were a rock band, like, and like, they weren't as much of a rock band as the format was necessarily. But like,
Yeah.
having like a punk influence song makes sense.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, we'll get to some of the B-sides and stuff that they kind of left on the cutting room floor, but I think some of those songs are a better connection there than this song is.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I have a playlist where this song is just straight replaced by Out on the Town. So I feel you on that.
Yeah. I've got a lot to say about that one when it comes up.
Oh yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. Right now, next up is Why Am I the One? Which has a straight up Midwest emo guitar part at the beginning of it, which I have always loved.
It's
I think this
great.
is a wonderful song.
Yeah, this is another one of
It
my
is.
favorites for sure.
It's, I mean, I like a lot of stuff about the song. I like this kissing my death as a metaphor for smoking, and same thing with the let my fate fill the air. I think that's just really good writing.
That's crazy, because up until this very moment, I thought he was saying I finished kissing my dad. I thought
Okay.
that, and I know other people who thought that too. And I was gonna say that is kind of funny that he's implying that, like, I feel like some people kiss their parents. That's fine. And I was like,
Totally.
it's funny to just say finished kissing my dad as if you've been kissing your dad for like quite a while. Wow, that's so much better of a lyric, which I never noticed that was a cigarette thing. And actually, that's a really cool lyric.
Yeah.
Which it's okay to kiss your
that's
dad
funny.
if that's what you do, but maybe not for a very long time.
We have a long tradition of talking about misheard lyrics on this podcast too, so you are not out of line here.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Also, not the first time that one of us has realized, like, literally live on the air, that we have been mishearing a lyric for decades.
Yeah, despite I know you do this, Troy. I know I do this. Like, we both look at the lyrics like along with a listen before every episode, and I still screw that up sometimes.
Yeah. I'm sometimes like editing Genius as I'm listening through, and I'm like, okay, no, this is wrong. This has been wrong on here for 20 years. I'm going to fix
That
it
does
now.
also happen
I
quite
really
a bit. Yeah.
appreciate that you edit things on Genius, and that also that you've pretty much put most of my band's lyrics onto Genius. I think,
Yeah,
it's
always.
like you and one other person,
Yep.
and I really appreciate that.
What do you think of like the way that this song samples bits of Some Nights? What do you make of that?
There's a lot of cross-pollination on this record, just kind of in general. Like that, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Like, I kind of like that, like, we get these, like, kind of callbacks and foreshadowing type things. Because, like, we have, we get the mention of stars all the time, which is, like, generally, like, obviously alluding to literal stars in, like, Los Angeles, and also the closing track of this record. I think it's neat that they kind of pepper that stuff throughout this album, and I think that it showing up on this song, which also was a single and has a very wild video, is a cool move. I kind of like that a lot.
I love the music video for the song. It's really cute.
Oh,
Yeah, it's great. Especially since apparently that suitcase contained all of their instruments in the end.
Yeah, that was very funny that it becomes like a TARDIS at the end.
Yeah,
I don't
like a
remember
bag
enough.
of holding or whatever.
That's
Oh,
great.
it's basically they're traveling and they have this suitcase that gets like lost along the way and you just kind of follow the suitcase as it shows up at like their practice space or whatever, and then they all pull their full size instruments out of this tiny suitcase.
What do you think about that, Troy? About the
The sampling and everything.
yeah.
I like it as a way to tie
also,
different pieces
which part?
of the album to. Oh, it's the very end of the song. It's just this outro that kind of like
Is it
crescendos.
the come on, or whatever?
No, it's the when I see the stars. That's all they are. It's like it's kind of like chopped up a little bit and mixed in with the outro. I feel like it's just them doing the hip hop thing and being like, okay, what can we layer in here? And then instead of like samples they have to clear, they're just taking samples from elsewhere on the album. And like Kissler, like you said, I think it ties the album together in interesting ways and lets those motifs kind of show up again and again, both musically and lyrically.
Not to get ahead of ourselves, but Troy, since you and I have already talked about Grand Romantic, it is interesting to me to see this working this way, because like we talk about how on that album the actual title track Grand Romantic was supposed to be a series of interludes, and I feel like that might have been what they were going for with that, was this kind of like thematic tie-in that like kind of happens, I guess, between songs instead of like at the end of songs or in the middle of songs. But like, I feel like this is a good execution of that.
I think it's
I
also
agree.
I think it's also worth noting this has always been very theatrical, and that's a big part of musical theater, like composition is motifs. And so I've been really going down a little bit of a rabbit hole with like Sweeney Todd and like Stephen Sondheim and stuff. And like the way that he would write a musical is like he would write the motifs, and he would be like, okay, and all the motifs are also based on like each other, and like it's like this is how this character's motif sounds like because they would feel a certain way, or like their identity, you know, it plays with a certain motif. So I always love that. I don't remember the one in this part, but it does make sense. And it is kind of a cool, like doing the hip hop thing, but also, you know, calling back to their like musical theater thing that they've got going.
Yeah. I love the chorus of the song. I just think it's like I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a wonderful
it's
a wonderful piece of writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This might be one of my favorite choruses on the album. I like that it almost feels like it could be a verse. It's not like an anthemic chorus or anything. I just really like it.
Yeah. It's a little more subtle than something like Some Nights That We Are Young.
But it's so catchy at the same time.
And that's why it works so well.
It's like it's accidentally a chorus or something.
Yeah. All right. Next up is All Alone. I take this song to be about like loving a person who has changed a lot and really feeling like you can only be in love with the person that they used to be. I don't know if that's exactly the right reading of this song, but it's an idea that I think is always kind of stuck with me.
I think that's a very valid reading.
Yeah, that seems like a good reading, and it makes me appreciate the song more, because this is another one where I've looked back and I'm like, what's he talking about in this song? And that has kept me from liking it as much. And I think that's a excellent interpretation.
Yeah, just all the doll and like wind up toy stuff has always kind of led me to that.
Yeah, and it reminds me of he says like it reminds me of like all these things that you used to do or something, or like the songs you used to sing me, like so it doesn't make sense. To sleep. Yeah.
What I like about, you know, that kind of being the central theme of the song is that like despite kind of projecting this idealized version of somebody in the past onto this object, like reality still sets in later on in the song when you get that kind of like back and forth and layered vocals I think it's in the bridge maybe
or verse 2.
The second verse and the bridge have a lot of like back and forth.
Yeah. Like, and specifically like the way that If She Could Even Talk and I Think We Need to Talk get layered, like just like presents this like very disjointed view of what's going on with these two characters, and I love that.
This has definitely been one of my less liked songs, but I do think it's really good, and it's another one that I appreciate a little bit more now than I did when I was young.
I have always loved the "How do you cry with inanimate eyes" line, both the lyric and the melody and the way that it's sung. This was actually an early favorite for me on the album. The other thing that I love about this song, that it's just a little Easter egg, is the main keyboard line. I can't sing it, but the main keyboard line from this song is pulled straight from a Me Without You song. It is the flugelhorn line in Orange Spider by Me Without You, which Andrew Dost played on the Me Without You album.
Interesting.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Sampling, interpolation. Cool.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I there's no like credit, mentioned or in the Me Without or in the fun credits, but I was like, I know I've heard this before somewhere, and it took me I could not have like found it myself. Someone on Absolute Punk must have pointed it out, but I went and looked in the credits for Brother Sister, and it's Andrew Dost played flugelhorn on this song.
That's cool.
Beautiful.
And probably an easier sample to get the rights for. just ask the guy that you already know.
Right. I don't even think they sampled it. I think he just like played the same melody or whatever.
Oh yeah. Interpolation.
Yeah, because it's a harpsichord on this song. Well, probably a digital harpsichord, but a harpsichord nonetheless.
What's a
Yeah.
flugelhorn?
It's like a trumpet, but bigger. Yeah,
Okay,
a
great.
little bit lower voicing, I think.
That he plays a lot of instruments.
He does.
He plays a
talented
gazillion
guy.
instruments.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he's kind of the main sort of quote unquote composer of a lot of the fun stuff. At least all
Yeah,
the, or maybe the
seems
orchestrator
like
is
it.
the better word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we go on to All Right?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I always think of these two songs as very paired and maybe like about the same relationship, probably just because of the titles. But thematically, I think that could kind of work too.
This was definitely one of my favorites on the album. The vibe, the feeling of the track is just very nice, and it's these verses, like I still don't know what he's talking about, but these ones feel really good.
There's an element of like, what is it? Sort of coming to terms with a person who, is it a death or like an overdose maybe or something like that, is kind of how or maybe just the end of a relationship. Somewhere in there I feel like there's you could probably interpret any of those.
Yeah, it does seem more relationshipy just because, or like a friend, because they do say something about waiting for a friend to call and say they're still alive. Also, I've given everyone I know a good reason to go. I was surprised you stuck around long enough to figure out, which I guess could be a death, because it could be like, you stuck around, but then you died. But I kind of interpreted a little bit more like it's okay that you left because you really tried to put time into this.
Yeah,
and tried
that's how
to
I interpret
be
it.
around for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you get it turns it around in the second pre-chorus, and I came back with the belief that everyone I love is going to leave.
Yeah.
I love I remember the first time we wished upon parallel lines, which I assume is just a callback to Dog Problems.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh. What's the line in Dog Problems again? Parallel lines running in circles.
Are never meant to cross.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's an
Cool.
explicit
Yeah.
like reference or callback, but it's hard. It feels related to me.
Yeah. I always wonder if he does some of those things on purpose.
I believe it. It feels really intentional, especially because there's so much star imagery on this album, and that's what you would wish on. So like that's definitely intentional, if not directly a reference, I think, to Dog Problems.
Yeah. You also get our second reference to Icarus, and like not quite losing your feathers, but falling from the sun, crashing through the clouds. At least you could read that as a reference to the same idea as the lose your feathers line and it gets better. How much I actually want to connect back to it gets better, knowing what it's actually about, I don't know, but
Yeah.
Some themes endure.
Yeah. I feel like the lose our feathers thing might be more of like a goose. But it isn't like, don't gooses, like when they get to a certain age, they like lose their baby feather. I don't know if I'm making this
maybe,
up.
probably.
Yeah, I always interpreted that more as like a coming of age thing, like we're gonna lose our feathers.
I just went straight to the Greek myth.
Yeah, but this seems a little more Icarus for sure.
Yeah.
No virginity
I just-
stuff, but maybe this is the person that he lost his virginity with, but probably not.
It's possible, I guess. Yeah, I don't know, the way that chorus repeats at the end, it just the hollowness and like the kind of desperation you feel, but also the acceptance. It's a really interesting emotional place, I think, to end the song.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
pretty.
One thing I wanted to point out is the my regrets in text sent to taunt me line.
That's
the way
a
that
great
like
one.
the vocal effects and also the synths behind the vocals just like sag during that has always stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Just like it feels like he's just like losing steam on like talking about this in the middle of the song, which is I think kind of great.
Yeah. And that's like
Yeah.
such a good line.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, I remember an interview of this one, Nate saying this is one of his favorites because he said like so many of their songs feel like the emotion of the music is really happy, and then the emotion of the lyrics is really sad. But he likes that this one actually feels kind of sad, or like kind of giving up, or not even giving up, but like kind of surrendering whatever is going to happen.
Yeah, it's a very like
true.
Surrender is probably definitely the right word there.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we got "One Foot," the penultimate song on the record. This is another one, sort of in the vein of It Gets Better, in that the production is very loud and in your face, with this big like synth horn thing going on. But I really, really like this song. This is like another one that was an early favorite of mine.
Yeah,
it's a great song.
Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites. The production to me now feels a little weird and sparse, but like it works. I don't know. And the lyrics, I really like the lyrics. I'm standing in Brooklyn just waiting for something to happen always makes me think of Be Calm, like those types of things, lyrics where it's like I'm walking through the city, I'm doing this. For some reason, I like when people talk about being in a place and then walking or waiting or standing.
I think that, I mean, the Be Calm is so much about the sense of place and about obviously like taking in all the detail as a way to like get through a panic attack. And I like that this is kind of a similar thing, because it's like it's sort of a song about like just focusing on the thing that you're gonna do and that you want to do. And at least that's kind of what I get from the chorus. But, or even this like bad ideas, but ideas nonetheless, this like, you know, just kind of persevering through whatever. But then you get this sort of aside where he's like, I stumbled into a chapel last night and has this sort of diatribe about, you know, religion and the way that the church thinks about gay people. And it feels all feels of a piece in a way that I think is really good.
Yeah. It really all meshes together.
And then you get a great bridge. I should learn to shut my mouth. I'm over 25 and can't make a name for myself is a wonderful line.
It is. It really is.
And ironic given that it's on this album.
Yeah, right. I remember. And also even Aim and Ignite was like pretty good success, you know? But I think it just wasn't where he wanted to be. And I think that's like this first verse, like he thinking everybody doesn't get it, and to my left is a window, my reflection just blends in to rows of clothes, like he's just blending in. He wants to be this larger than life figure, and he's not. He definitely seems to be frustrated about that on this album. I heard that this was gonna be his last attempt to be a famous musician, which in my eyes at the time I was like, I feel like you're already famous, but I don't know. He wanted to be.
Well, that's the thing that's so funny about this record is that it is kind of there's a lot of elements of this record that are sort of like reckoning with the idea of already being kind of more famous than you want to be, or the pressure of that fame, and then the fact that it's the one that makes him, like you said, so ungodly famous that he then immediately is like, I need to never be seen in public again, like a few years later.
He does remind me a lot of myself in the way that like a lot of when my growing up, like I was like wanting to this huge famous figure, and like when I see, it just seems like he never learned to like get out of his own way and appreciate like the things that he had done, and it's kind of sad. Like it's just kind of like I saw an interview of him on the Jimmy World podcast like during COVID, and he was talking about how much he hates writing lyrics. And that's crazy. Sad. It's like the thing that you're best at, but I feel like you hate writing lyrics because it's like you want it to be the best that it could possibly be, and you're not going to settle for anything less than that. And like that is a really hard expectation to keep having for yourself. And always anything that happens, even if you succeed in your goals, every goal just feels like it's not enough, because you're like trying to fill this void inside of you that actually is not fillable with fame or, acceptance by the world that you think you need.
I think that's a really interesting insight into Nate as a writer, because one of the thing that I was so drawn to as a Format fan, and even, more so as a Fun fan, is that his lyrics are so full of specificity and so full of like we've talked about, like all this detail that sets up these stories that are often very, about himself. They're I think he tends to be a very autobiographical writer. And then I think about how I feel like Grand Romantic lost a lot of that. And then he, around that time, also does a lot of co-writing and working with other writers. And I wonder if some of that, like, co-writing stuff was an attempt to be like, what if I could write lyrics that didn't have to be the greatest lyrics in the world? What if it was like, I didn't have to like, bare my entire soul just to get a song that I thought was good.
Yeah. Or like, how can I, delegate that responsibility a little bit?
Yeah. And I feel like throughout the cycle of this album, you see him getting more, like, he's always been kind of a cynical guy, but you see him getting more kind of fed up with the music industry. Like, just going from this, where he's like, I want to be, famous, I want to be this, and then you can see him kind of just get to where he's like, I don't fucking care anymore. Like, I remember seeing an interview where he was talking about the Kesha song that he helped write, and he was like, yeah, and I was like in a room and I like sang this melody, and then this one guy was like, oh, I think Kesha would like this, and he was like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. And same thing happened in another thing. It was like he was being interviewed by like a music business guy he had worked with, and they were just talking about like how to be successful with your band and whatever, and he was giving some pretty decent advice, but then also he was just kind of like, yeah, I don't care. Like, he kept saying that, and the guy was like, he does care, everybody, just so you know. But I think he just got to where he was like, he was just yeah. I mean, it makes so much sense that he quit before the tour of Grand Romantic, like, or I believe he did, like, he
they did like one short tour, basically.
Yeah, he like burnt himself out by trying to be this like larger than life figure, and trying to, and then finding that it's just a lot of people trying to make money off of him, just surrounding him constantly and being like, oh yeah, write this thing.
There's a bit of a monkey's paw element to his entire career, because I feel like the Format starts off as this like, we should be the biggest band in the world. We want to be the biggest band in the world. And then when he finally becomes, gets to that level, it's like, well, the music industry sucked back then and it still sucks now. And it's what's the Hunter S. Thompson quote that I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's whatever it is. It's, even when you are so successful, there's really nothing good about the industry, which is, I mean, why the Format is back releasing a new record on their own record label again. Like, all it feels like all is right in the world.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to see them back. Like, it seems like they're just like, we're going to be an indie band.
And feels we're like it, yeah.
We're going to have a good time and sing about what we want to sing about and all that.
Yeah, we're on to the closing track of the album, Stars. Another, about 7-minute closer with a big expansive outro. They have a style, a thing they like to do.
This is one of my favorite verses. Like, basically, like the verse, pre-chorus, verse 2, like I really like so much about this song. The outro does not do anything for me except for annoys me.
All right, two Matts on this podcast fight.
I'm willing to hear. I'm willing to hear you out.
Like, this is their favorite moment, like of doing music, was this outro, and I was like, why? And they were like, yeah, and if anybody doesn't like it because it's auto-tuned, then screw you. But I was like, I don't like it because it's bad, which, subjective. I don't fault you for liking it. it's annoying to me. It's too dang long. To me, like it feels like the song doesn't have the ending that it deserves. It feels so like, I feel like these are some of the best lyrics on the album. And this would probably be my favorite song on the album if it weren't for this. I also, kind of going back to what I was saying with the come on thing, I don't love how Nate will do like these like things where it's kind of like the equivalent of like a na 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 or a la la la, but it uses actual words that we don't associate with that we actually associate with their meaning when we hear them in a song, or at least for me. Like, so when I just hear him saying no 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 no, which it makes sense in this song, but I've heard him, I think he does it in some other songs in places that don't make sense, and it feels like he likes how it feels with his voice, which is fine, but I don't like it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a nah, which is a different vowel sound. I guess
sense
is kind of how he's using it.
No one's gonna save us, No, we are always holding on to stars. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never liked this outro.
Should I talk about how much I love this outro now?
You do love it.
Okay. So I totally understand where you're coming from. I want to be so clear about that. Here's my thing. This is maybe one of my favorite fun songs, period. And I think I definitely agree with you about everything leading up to the big outro. These lyrics are the lyrics to the song are really good, really befitting of a closer. We have a lot of Nate specificity. We have callbacks to other fun songs. That part of that pre-chorus where he says, "Well, some nights I rule the world with bar lights and pretty girls." Like, so good, so great. We love a callback to Aim and Ignite. I like the thing about this song is that I don't know what the official interpretation of it. The way I've always read it is that it's kind of bemoaning and also like grieving the loss of like a belief in this like kind of grand, intangible cosmic thing, God, the will of the stars, whatever you want to call it. And like, being with somebody who like does believe in that and like having a hard time coming to grips with that, especially because that is something you have lost over the course of your life. Like this, like there are lines that I specifically read as like, I have been told all my life that like my mom has passed, but she's still with me. But like, why can't I feel that? Why do I miss you so much? That's such a huge feeling, and like such a tough thing to contend with. And the way that I feel about the outro is that like that is just a grand cathartic scream. And like I don't think it would have worked if it hadn't have had a little bit of that weird artificial harmony run through it. Because I think it would have just been like a vocal mic peaking for most of the outro of the song, which I'm sure I would have also liked. I famously love a lot of screaming in music, and definitely did at this point in my life even more so than I maybe do now. But I don't know. I feel like it manages to compress all the emotions that lead up to that point into just like just this moment of like, and now I don't have words for this anymore, so I'm just gonna scream. Is kind of how I've always read it, and I've always really enjoyed that. And I
totally get that, and I honestly feel like that could work. I think for me, my biggest gripe with it is that this song feels like it has so much momentum up until that point. It's like there's something that just feels very like urgent. It's like it's moving forward in this like really cool way. And then you get this like really repetitive. Like I feel like maybe if they made the ending a little bit more like grandiose sounding, like also made it shorter. Like I that's just a personal bias for me. It's like it's too long. But I think like up until that point, like I've tried to cover this song and I'm like, there's no way to like it's like there's so much momentum, and then now we're like in an elevator and it's just lounge music, and it's like just repeating, and you're always holding on to stars. You're always holding on to stars. You're always holding on to stars. No, 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 etc. And to me, like, I mean, like, take your time. But that ending, I love. Could have still been a little bit shorter for me, but that's such a great song. And like, but it feels like the momentum that got you there, like, is rewarded, I guess, in a way where in this song it just feels like you got to this high emotional high, then just drop everything in some way.
Kistler, I love your reading of the of like what emotionally is going on in this at the end of the song. But Matt, I think I also agree with you that it does not work for me. In part because it makes the song feel like half of a song with another half of a different song tacked onto it.
And I like the effects.
Yeah, the effects are cool. It kind of moves in interesting ways. But it's funny. We were talking last week on our Aim and Ignite episode about how, yeah, Take Your Time Coming Home is 7 minutes long, but it feels like 3.5 max. And this one, this is kind of the opposite, where it's like, this is what 6-7 minutes long, and it's like, 1 minute into the outro, I'm like, oh man, when does this end?
That's how I feel too. But I'm glad that you like it, Matt.
I'm glad I like it too.
Yeah, I've always felt, and I don't know if I should save this for Out on the Town, this was never a good ending for me. Out on the Town, on the other hand, I felt was a great ending, and it felt like that emotional high point cathartic feel. So I always thought it was a shame that it was considered a bonus track, because I was like, this, if the album ended here, that would feel like such a weird ending for me.
You have waded into a debate within my household, because I am change the iTunes metadata tags, like Out on the Town is in a separate album called, Some Nights bonus track. And the album, if I just hit play on the album ends with stars. Lisi is the opposite. She's like, no, Out on the Town is the last song on the album, because that's how it was when I downloaded it on iTunes, and that's how I've always listened to it, as it is part of the record. Yeah. And I think I think you're totally right that it is emotionally a good kind of cap on the album. The thing I'll say for Stars is that Stars really does close up the obviously star motif and metaphor that goes throughout the album, which is the only thing I really want to say about the lyrics in that song is the we'll stay up late debate about how we'd find our way. You say it's all up in the stars. This idea of of kind of trying to reckon with fate, and if your life has been sort of preordained, like Kistler, like you were saying. But yeah, I mean, Out on the Town also works really well emotionally as a closing track.
Yeah, and now that you say that,
yeah, I can totally see that.
The lyrics in Stars do kind of feel more resolute as far as the themes of the album than Out on the Town. I mean, especially with the Some Nights I Rule the World with Bar Lights and Pretty Girls. It feels like, I don't know. It feels like
it's closing a loop there.
It's closing the conversation, and whereas Out on the Town is more breakup relationship song, but musically, I mean, but also lyrically, especially that bridge, which I don't know if I'm pushing us too hard into next already.
No, you're good.
Already.
No, this is good. This works.
Okay, well, Out on the Town is at the time this album came out, this was my favorite song. I think the track, the music instrumentation is so pretty. It feels so much like the emotion of the lyrics. It feels so empty and lonely, but in this way where it's you're looking back on this relationship in a way that's not entirely pessimistic. It's just this, it feels, the music of it feels so much like walking home, walking home after a late night, everything is everything is closed. I'm sure I listened to this drunk walking home many, many times, and it's
yeah.
Oh,
just
sure.
That feeling of everything is just quiet, and just the street lights are on, and you're the only one existing. It has that weird lonely feeling. The track, I feel, just makes you feel that so perfectly.
I agree. I'm kind of baffled about how this did not make the album officially. At least unless you believe that it just feels like the closing track. I don't know where you would put it in the sort of 10-song track list, but it's so good. My favorite little bit of this song is the idea of what I'll call them back and borrow a box knife so I can learn to live with all the stupid shit I've been doing since '99. But this idea of the box knife as the metaphor for unpacking your past emotions is, I think, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like when you move into a new place and it's like you have these things that are sitting there just taking up space and you're not wanting to fully bring them into your new life.
Yeah, just also some incredible trumpet stuff going on in the bridge. The bridge of the song is awesome.
Yeah.
I kind of don't have enough good things to say about it. It's so good.
Yeah, that big build-up thing, that to me feels like the emotional ending I needed at the end of this album.
Yeah. I could see the case for this being the closing track.
Yeah.
I would accept.
But they barely ever played it live.
There's a couple more bonus tracks that I do want to hit on somewhat quickly. There's a whole bunch of acoustic versions and stuff that we don't need to talk about in detail. But
did Matt have anything
I think we should talk about Side of the Sun. And
did you?
Sorry, Matt. Did you get anything?
No, it's fine. I think y'all hit pretty much everything I wanted to say. But I do want to very much clarify that I am with you, Troy. Stars closes the album. This is a different thing. Should have been on a bonus 7-inch with the LP. Love this song. Or I found my rearrangement of the album, and I think I put Out on the Town after Some Nights, and I moved We Are Young way later in the album.
Interesting.
I need to re-listen and see if it actually works. But I'll let you all know if it does.
Okay.
Wow.
But yeah, no, I think we should talk about Side of the Sun and What the Fuck. Because I think these are both really, really incredible songs that would not fit on this album. But man, do I love both of them. I don't know if there's one either of you guys are more drawn to and want to talk about first.
I remember not liking Side of the Sun at first. But I think it's a really good song, and especially as a follow-up. Like I said before, I'm really slow about getting into new music. Usually I hear it and I'll be like, oh, that's weird. And then sometimes things in my head and I want to go listen to it again. This song did not. I listened to it probably once or twice, and then I was like, okay, I don't need to listen to that anymore. It feels very much like the next step of the pop evolution of fun. It almost feels like not maybe these aren't the right song, but this kind of vibe of a Natasha Bedingfield, that was Vanessa Carlton. It almost had that something my mom would listen to when I was a kid, type of feel.
Yeah, there's an airiness to it that is it is very different from anything they do on the album. I read that this song was pulled last second from the album, which I can understand why. I'm curious if they just cut it from 11 songs down to 10 or replaced it with something else. I don't know where you would put this on the record, and I don't think emotionally it fits on the record one bit.
Yeah, I don't think it needed to be on it.
Yeah, the sense of contentment and joy in the song, I think, is really, really palpable and wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too joyous for some nights is the only problem with it.
Right.
It's too light.
It's a delightful song, and I really do love it. But yeah, it definitely wouldn't have fit. I think, Matt, you'd kind of mentioned that there's this sense of optimism with Out on a Town that maybe isn't present in most of the rest of the album, but it feels not so far removed from everything else on Some Nights as this does.
It's kind of melancholic acceptance, which to me is one of my favorite things to portray in music. I feel there's just some really great, a nice suspended chord. I don't know, it give me that feeling. It's this sad, but you're moving forward and you're taking all of your your wounds with you, and you're going into you're accepting what's going on, and that's what I love about Out on the Town. But yeah, this song is very pretty. very nice. It feels like an after some nights thing. It feels like, okay, some nights that was crazy, but now everything's fine. All that shit got solved, which I'm sure it didn't, but
yeah. Well, and that's, you know what? And the other bonus track I want to talk about, What the Fuck, is kind of about how it all didn't get solved.
Yep.
This is, this song is incredible. They were playing this a lot on the tour, the Some Nights tour. I don't know if they wrote it for Aim and Ignite or for Some Nights. I assume for Some Nights, just based on kind of the lyrics and stuff. But this is like a real rocker. Sounds like really nothing that ended up on the album. But I think this song is brilliant, incredible. There are so many things I could point out about it, but it is, I think, pretty obviously about Nate's breakup with Rachel Antonoff, Jack's sister. And I wonder if that was a factor in why it never, didn't make a record or anything, although they did play it live a bunch. But man, I just think this is like a perfect chorus, a bridge that is kind of like, there's a lot of lyrics in the song that are self-deprecating and amusing, but I think it's also very cathartic and very introspective, and the way that Nate's lyrics often are. I think this is like a perfect song, and I'm so glad it got a semi-official release, even if it was just a live version.
Yeah, and that live version is so good. That like big pause in the middle just like really brings things home. Like, obviously it gets filled with applause, but it's great.
Yeah.
This was one of the ones that I was gonna listen to again before this podcast, and I forgot. I remember hearing this back in the day. I remember the chorus is not my favorite of theirs. But I did like the bridge. I like the, I like it when Nate starts narrating something. What can I say?
Yep.
I haven't felt the need to go back to it, and I feel like I don't like it as much as the rest of the album, but I don't remember enough to really make that claim for sure.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. To me, it just this is like a side of Fun that never made it onto an album.
Yeah,
The Fun that is a little more
pop-punky.
Steel Train.
Yeah.
So like Stitch. Yeah, like Stitch Me Up from the bonus track from Aim and Ignite, I think of as a very Steel Train leaning Fun song, as opposed to like a format leaning Fun song. If you want to make that dichotomy of the kind of the two sort of I think bigger personalities in the band. And this one feels like it might be a little more on the Steel Train side, which is a thing that I really love. I don't know. I would have tried to personally fund an entire album that sounded like this version of this band.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
I almost wrote Proto Bleachers in my notes for this song. I don't know if that's anything. It might be a little bit of something, given that it sounds kind of Steel Trainy.
Maybe it just,
I don't know.
The problem is that like Nate's voice is so distinctive that it's to me it's
True.
Like it's hard for any Fun thing to be Proto Bleachers.
Except
totally valid.
Oh yeah, and Bleachers is so different in a lot of ways. Side note, I know that you guys already talked about this album, but I was just wondering, did you guys talk about how Take Your Time is like the same song as I Feel Weird by Steel Train?
No. Oh, that's
No.
funny. No, I didn't.
It's like
we didn't talk about that. I
similar.
didn't even think about that.
Like ridiculously similar, which is funny because that's a Jack Antonoff thing that I've actually grown to kind of like, is like on every song, on every album, maybe not everyone, but on a lot of the albums that he produces, there's a song that sounds like Roller Coaster.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just kind of been part of his thing, is like reusing ideas. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
Yeah.
I definitely prefer Take Your Time over I Feel Weird. But
I probably do too, although I love I Feel Weird.
yeah, Take Your Time is just so dang good.
Yeah. I just also like, I would be happy if even more songs in the world sounded like Roller Coaster. I mean, it's one of my favorite
Yeah.
songs ever. So
Yeah. I love it.
yeah,
Texas
all right.
Man
that's-
from the Chicks. Sorry. Sorry, I'm getting way off course.
Yeah.
It sounds like Roller Coaster.
No, that's fine.
Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah.
But yeah, what the fuck? Good song.
But yeah, I mean that's Some Nights. I mean we've gone through pretty much the whole era. We should talk a little bit about. I mean this is this album comes out in 2012. Fun is fully disbanded by, within 3 years of this album coming out. And by, all accounts have not really spoken to each other since then, which is sad, but I guess that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Washington Post article about Boycott Heaven that I was mentioning, there was some source site or whatever that said the members of Fun do not keep in touch.
Wow.
Which is unsurprising based on how they all talk about this era of their lives, but also, like I said, kind of a bummer.
I remember hearing that Nate and Jack did not get along originally in the when they originally formed Fun, and it seemed like their relationship got better, but I don't know. I wonder if they still did.
So there is, and I wish I could find the exact thing that I'm going to cite here, but I remember reading interviews or hearing something about there being some amount of tension around the fact that after Aim and Ignite came out, Jack went and made another Steel Train record, which is my favorite Steel Train record. So I'm glad he did that, but that there is some, it's reflected in how they talk about it now when they do talk about it, which is rarely, but that, Jack never felt like Fun was his band and so he said wanted to do his own thing more.
It's very evident in this album too. It does feel like Jack didn't have a ton of influence on how these songs were created, especially hearing Bleachers with Jack's take on pop music it's pretty different from Some Nights.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny then that his take on pop music has become the defining sound of pop music of the last 5 years or 10 years probably.
Right.
So he kind of won that argument, I guess, if there's an argument there. And notably the new format record does not play in that space at all. That it's we'll talk about that in a couple weeks, but it's very it's a very different sound than anything that Fun was doing. So it's the end of 2014. They play a new song, Harsh Lights, on, was it Kimmel, Fallon, one of the talk shows. And that song ends up getting reused for Nate's solo record. And that's kind of the last we ever hear of Fun, which is strange. You can find the video of it. It's a really good performance. But then it's, it ends up as a sort of a last second addition to Grand Romantic. And it's the one song on Grand Romantic that the Fun guys have a co-writing credit on. I think it's a great song. It sounds more like Some Nights than anything on Grand Romantic, and therefore is one of the best songs on Grand Romantic. But it's just one of those weird things. It's they just kind of just faded away. And I think Nate has talked about how there's people who stop him on the street over the past 5 years have all been Format fans. No one mentions Fun, and it's the band has weirdly faded from the public consciousness a little bit, even though to me, personally, they have never faded because I just love these albums.
Yeah, it is weird. They were huge, but they weren't celebrities. They weren't they
were for a couple years.
Yeah, they were, but I don't know. I think a lot of the general public wouldn't see Nate and be like, "Oh, that's the guy from Fun." I think it was more like, "Oh, here's that song that I hear all the time in Target."
Yeah, totally.
But something I was going to say, I don't know if this is coincidence or not, but I did notice on the new format record, he's still using the electronic harmonies. And that might be just a production thing that a lot of people do that now for even for rock bands. But the way his vocals are processed is way more reminiscent of Fun to me, especially Some Nights and Grand Romantic too. It seems like maybe he liked some of that vocal processing and carried it over, or it could have just been something with the producer that they worked with, or maybe they just didn't want to record harmonies, which happens.
Yeah, interesting.
Also, Jump in the Shark.
When I do my,
can we talk about Jump in the Shark a little?
We talked about it on last week's episode because it was from Aim and Ignite episode, but go for it. You got something to say about it?
That's a good ass song. I love that song.
It really is.
The Eminem version is okay, but I don't like all the lyrical changes. I don't remember much about Eminem's lyrics on that song at all. I just remember being like the bridge of this song with the the whole thing with if the plane goes down and the crew can't wake me up, like that whole thing was so good. And then like they kind of just were like, we're gonna change the lyrics to make it about Eminem's life, and I feel that was a big mistake.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those things that it's like, someone open the Google Drive, show me all of these fun songs. There must be a studio version of that out there somewhere.
Oh yeah,
or hidden somewhere.
Definitely. Let's
do some random recommendations. At the end of every episode, we recommend something. It can be anything you want, an album you like, a movie you like, or your own band.
Okay. But, so not based on fun?
No, it can be literally anything.
Okay.
Yeah. So Kistler, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. This week I want to recommend the EP album. I don't know how it works with ambient albums, even though I should at this point. It is the self-titled EP from To Eat Flowers and Not Be Afraid. This is a band that kind of cropped up out of nowhere for me. I think they followed me on Instagram, like kind of randomly. But they are a 2-guitar duo who are pretty much self-proclaimed stars of the Lid worship. Stars of the Lid are one of my favorite bands of all time, and they do that style of music really well. Just very like abstract guitar drones with like kind of little melodies peppered in on occasion. It's just really good stuff. These two dudes performed the whole thing live, I believe, to like 2-inch tape. It's just very much in the tradition of the kind of early iterations of what Stars of the Lid was, music for Nitrous Oxide and the Blasted Orchestra era, like less so the like triple LPs that happened later and had a lot more synth stuff. But yeah, really sick band. Highly recommend checking them out if you're into ambient music or drone music or anything like that you can either throw on in the background or pay very, very close attention to. Yeah. What do you got, Troy?
I am gonna do the completely opposite end of the musical spectrum.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna recommend the 2023 album "No Joy" by Spanish Love Songs. This is an album that has been in like constant rotation for me since it came out. I love this band so much. I love this album so much, and I don't know, something about the winter just feels like the right time to put this on. And it's a very melancholy record, but even though it's also kind of like an optimistic love album, it's I don't know. It's one of those records that I can kind of put it on at any time. I think it truly is their best work, and they're working on a new record right now, and so I'm very excited to see what the rest of the year holds for them. But Matt Pow, you got a random recommendation?
This whole time I've been panicking because I can't remember what I like. But
you can also forego the random recommendation.
You don't have to I'll give some like just these will truly be random things that I can think of that I like. I've been listening to Pretty Pleased, actually. There's a song called Death by T-Shirt Cannon. Our friend Josh, his band called Pretty Pleased. Good song. Very, very good song. Future Teens, great band. Antron songs. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's this bald guy from TikTok, and he made this thing that was like he goes, and makes really funny videos, but he's also like a really, really good songwriter. Clearly by his name on TikTok, Antron Songs, he was originally making this TikTok page with the intention of promoting his music. And then he kind of did all these really funny things that blew up on TikTok, and now he's kind of using that hype to promote his music. And he's got a song called "Leave the Window Open," where he sings in falsetto and he like speeds up his voice, and it like has like a really cool it sounds like he's like a cartoon character singing about global warming, but like in a really clever way. And there's like a song called "Flying Cars," really good song. I've been listening to him a little bit. I like the Julia Wolf album. It's like very
Okay.
it's very like almost like emo rap. It's like she used to kind of be more of like a pop. There's like a certain type of pop music, but the new album is like mixed with like kind of like post-hardcore music. So it's like this like chill pop vocal with like pretty heavy instrumentation, and I think it's pretty cool. Also,
Well, that is
yeah,
so many good recommendations.
if you haven't watched Haunting of Hill House, it's a great show.
Oh yeah, great
I
show.
love that show. I'm obsessed with it. I have a band called City Mouth, and if you like fun and the format, you might like it because that's what I was listening to when I wrote a lot of this music.
Yeah, can confirm. City Mouth, good band. I was on many of those songs.
Yeah, Troy was.
I have never been in City Mouth, and City Mouth is good. So I'm an objective third party
Good.
saying City Mouth
Glad
good.
we got a non-biased opinion. Thank you.
But Matt, thank you so much for doing the show, for talking with us about
thank
Some
you
Nights,
guys for
our by far our longest episode.
I wonder why. This guy loves to talk.
Oh, no, this
thank
is
you guys
good.
so much for having me. This has been really fun. You got me to think a lot about my youth in ways that I hadn't before. And it was very great talking to you guys, hearing what you have to say about music. And thanks so much. This has been really cool.
Yeah, we'll be back next week talking about Grand Romantic and kind of what happens after fun. And in the meantime, you can follow us on Instagram at noisefloorpod, find us on the internet at noisefloorpodcast.com, and send us email at noisefloorpodcast@gmail.com. We will see you next week.
See y'all next week.